Welcome to Scott Fox After 9. Today's episode is, I think, going to be amazing, but I would say that as the host of this podcast. You judge for yourself when we get to the end, but stick around for it. Today, what I'm going to do, it's kind of a quiet day. There's things going on, but there's nothing earth-shattering happening at the moment. I've had a number of people message in asking me to talk about various different topics. So I'm going to dedicate a little bit of time to a lot of different topics in today's episode. Let me give you a little example of what I'm going to be talking about. The EV mandate. Looks like the federal government is not going to walk that back. The conservatives are saying you need to get behind us so we can force them to walk it back like they did with the carbon tax. So we'll talk about this EV mandate where the government wants you to buy an electric vehicle soon. We're going to talk about the economy a little bit too. Obviously, not good here in Canada, but the opposite is happening in America. And don't take it from me. Take it from a very liberal news source in MSNBC. They'll tell you in as liberal a way possible that Donald Trump is doing a really good job managing the American economy. But again, don't take it from me. That's not Scott saying Donald Trump's doing a good job with the economy. You're going to hear it with America's leading left-leaning news source coming up in this episode. We're going to talk about Starlink. Do you remember that? Premier Doug Ford, when he had his hissy fit about the Americans, decided he was going to rip up the deal with Starlink. And Elon Musk is not only not working with the Trump administration, he's highly critical of the American administration. But nonetheless, Ontario has finally torn up the deal. And I'd like to know how much it cost us to get out of that deal and get no Starlinks. How much did we have to pay for that, for this little elbows up, prove a point stunt that Doug Ford pulled there? We're going to talk about interest rates. The announcement is in. They are holding rates where they are. And I'll read you a little bit of the reasoning for that. And, Friday's the day. We got to have a deal with the Americans. In fact, just this morning, Donald Trump reminded the world, if we don't have a deal by Friday, you're going to be paying tariffs, and we're not negotiating after that. Where is Canada at? There's a cabinet meeting happening today, and I'll touch on that. And speaking of Trump, he answered a very interesting question yesterday about Epstein Island. A very interesting question about Jeffrey Epstein taking girls from Mar-a-Lago. Hold on, what? Jeffrey Epstein taking girls from Mar-a-Lago? Well, that's a little messed up, too. And finally, I'm going to talk about Tamara, Lich, and Chris Barber, the so-called organizers of the Freedom Convoy, looking at serious jail time. And we're going to talk about crime and punishment here, because this is an example of where, again, I don't feel the punishment fits the crime. All that and more on this episode of Scott Fox After 9, so I hope you can stick around for it. We're going to try and keep it to about 45 minutes today. That was my original promise to you, to keep them fairly short and listenable. And I'm going to start off by bringing in the great Anna Almeida. How you doing, Anna?
Hey, I'm good.
A couple things I want to talk to you about off the bat, because one of them I think deserves a conversation. Many people have taken note of the fact that just the other day, our former Prime Minister, Justin Trudeau, had dinner with pop star Katy Perry. What was your first thought when you saw that news break yesterday morning?
AI photo? Literally what first came to mind. I thought this has to be fake news. And then more and more. And then I sent you the picture after. I thought, isn't this weird? This is just not on my bingo card for 2025, the two of them getting together and having dinner.
What do you think it is? Let me ask you, I don't want to ask you that yet. Katy Perry is extremely high up in liberal left-leaning circles. You know, going back in the day, she was performing at events for Barack Obama and Hillary Clinton. She's met with presidents. She's been invited to the White House. And not every pop star has. You've got to get a certain number of checks on your liberal card to get invited to the White House to meet with the liberal president of the United States, namely Barack Obama. And of course, she did try very heavily to get Hillary Clinton elected as well, and also part of the Joe Biden campaign. Katy Perry has been politically active for a very long time, and no doubt the higher ups in the left have noted that. How does she end up in a restaurant in Montreal having dinner with a former, also liberal, prime minister in Justin Trudeau? Is that just because they have mutual friends, or do you think there's any romantic interest there?
Oh, I would feel, I mean, she's single now. You're on the rebound, and he's, I believe, single. I'm not quite sure. But yeah, this could just be a rebound sort of experience. And it's getting everybody talking because the last bit of press that she's been getting hasn't been the greatest, you know, going to space and her tour not doing well. And now the breakup with she and Orlando. So this is a different way of getting her back into the limelight and having people talk about her, but not in a negative way that we've been, you know, divulging information about her. But I don't, out of all the people to pick, really?
Hey, let's be honest. I mean, it's a good-looking couple. If it does end up that they're dating, they are two good-looking adults. I'm sure that if either of them can, they'd have good-looking children. However, I don't think that that's in the cards for these two. But if those two get together, that is a liberal powerhouse. That is a power couple in liberal, left-leaning political circles. But for the mainstream, Justin Trudeau is probably the most hated man in Canada. Take away some of the serial killers and people like that we've had to deal with in our history. Justin Trudeau is probably the most hated man in the country.
Yeah.
Katy Perry, to your point earlier, not very popular for a lot of different reasons, namely some of the dumb things she says. Maybe they are perfect for each other, actually. In hindsight, maybe they are.
Maybe this is their time to be together. I mean, if she's looking, I mean, he's not in office. So what are you getting out of this? You're not going to be the first lady or whatever, you know, Sophie was. This is just such a weird pairing together. I'm sorry. I know she's lent her support. She sang at the inauguration for Biden, firework. And it's just so weird to me. What are they talking about? I just feel like it would be basic conversation. Isn't that horrible?
I don't even think Katy Perry is really a pop star. Her songs are, I mean, at the time they were hot, but I don't know anybody that's pounding down the door of a local radio station to play more Katy Perry. I don't get the impression that that's going on. Her tour, not good. She looked really, really spaced out at times and like she was forgetting the words and the actions to some of her songs. Katy Perry, I feel, is really more interested in the political side of things. Maybe this isn't a matter of her being the first lady. Maybe it's Justin Trudeau becoming the first gentleman.
Imagine, I guess, honestly, since President Trump took office, I think, holy hell, that means I can do anything. You never know what the future holds. So who knows? Maybe Katy Perry does have intentions to run for a place in the U.S. government. I hope not. I just don't know what she would have to offer.
Americans fall for that all the time, right?
They like the celebrity. That's the thing.
They love that.
Right? What advice could he give her? What not to do?
Let me bring up what not to do is a great idea. Anything Trudeau did, don't do that.
Don't do anything I do, Katie. Nothing. You want to be somebody of the people, you got to listen to the people and what we need.
Off topic, but I'll tell you that yesterday I asked a question. Carney's been in power for a while now. Our tariffs are higher now than they were before he took office. Doesn't look like we're going to get a trade deal done with America. It doesn't look like it, but anything could still happen, and I hope we do. Nothing has really changed. Parliament barely sat. Is your life any better now than it was before the election?
I feel like things have just gotten worse.
Thank you, because you know what? That's what all of the DMs that I got yesterday were. And regular people that I know, some of them, do not like the conservatives at all. They won't necessarily say they're a liberal, but they would not vote for Pierre Poilievre.
Yeah.
Even they can acknowledge life has actually gotten worse since Carney got elected. And maybe that's nothing to do with Carney, but that's the way things are going. And that's not good for Mark Carney at all. It's not good for this country. Our lives are actually getting worse, not better. Our economy is getting worse, not better. And there's going to be a whole bunch of job losses coming soon. Canadian Tire laying people off now. Are you kidding me? If you had said, Scott, tell me a Canadian company that's doing well, a Canadian Tire would have had to have been high on that list. And now we find out even they're laying people off. StatsCan has announced they're laying people off. Who's going to rig all the numbers for the Bank of Canada if you guys let all the staff go?
And didn't you see that coming with your numbers, that you're going to lose some staff? Not to make a joke, but at the end of the day, I mean, we feel like we're being laughed at, this middle-class society that has been, working our asses off to get food on the table. But things have just gotten worse. Crime has been up.
Thank you.
You can't catch a break. There's always something left, right, tariffs. I mean, get the deal done. Carney, he's meeting with the ministers, right? Is it the ministers today?
He's meeting with his cabinet, yeah.
Yeah, his cabinet, and it's via Teams or whatever. Like he's not even doing that in person because everybody's been away. When you take over office, you should have people in place and you should be working gung-ho right from the beginning. Nobody needs the vacation from the vacation. Like we needed to get together and make change happen, and it's not doing that. So I'm interested to see what Friday will bring if we get the deal. I'm not optimistic, though, to be honest with you. And I think Trump is hoping that they don't get the deal done, and his way leads the way.
I think Trump doesn't want a deal now either. And I think he kind of never did.
Exactly.
Because if we don't have a deal, it goes right back to what Justin Trudeau said to Donald Trump at Mar-a-Lago last December. If you do that with tariffs, it'll be the end of Canada. We won't be able to function anymore as a country. So if Donald Trump really did want the 51st state, he might get it now without even asking for it if we don't get a deal, because those tariffs could quite possibly be high and have a major impact on our economy. We're having a huge impact on our own economy, though. I mean, things are bad. I'm going to get to that. I don't want to get too far off topic with you.
To switch, but that's just how I'm feeling. I'm feeling the heat, and I can't even imagine having a family and extra responsibilities like many do.
Something is coming. Something is coming, everybody. This cannot continue in Canada, and I don't think it's going to for much longer. We're in a pretty bad spot. Mm-hmm. But again, I'll get to that coming up. Back to Trudeau and Katy Perry. A couple of things that stand out when you have these conversations. It's probably not politically correct to say, but I'm going to say it because this is what people are telling me. I don't believe that they're dating because I believe Justin Trudeau is gay.
Oh my gosh, we actually got a text message this morning on our radio show, Light 92, and the person said, I know you can't say this on the radio, but isn't he in the closet? But we all know about it. And whatever he's into or not into, that's his business. But yeah, that's one of the things that had people's eyebrows raised, thinking, I think they're getting this wrong. The media.
I don't know if he is or isn't, and I don't care. I don't really care what goes on in Justin Trudeau's life. In fact, I'd love to never hear about that guy again unless it's in court. I think that Justin Trudeau is... No, I'm not going to say that. Let's just keep it to the facts. Katy Perry, Justin Trudeau go out for dinner. A lot of people are speculating that it may just be a meeting of convenience, either politically because they're working on something, or that Justin Trudeau is so hell-bent on getting his kid Xavier's music played that he's willing to go right to the stars and see if they can help influence getting his music played. Do you think Katy Perry can help Xavier Trudeau get his music on the radio or get some publicity or make it catch fire?
No, if anything, I would have told him to reach out to David Foster. Like, give me a break. He has more connections and success stories with artists than anybody else. Katy Perry, she's not getting the excitement she once had. So I don't think that would be a great pairing. And also, they wanted to be seen. Say it for what it was. They wanted to be seen. If you don't want to be seen with somebody, you don't go out for dinner in Montreal, a very busy location in a top tier restaurant, and then go for a walk and be seen together. And you have your security standing by. I mean, you want everybody to look at what's going on.
Many people feel that Justin Trudeau was told, you shut up and lay low. The people that were running Trudeau, this would be Katie Telford, Gerald Butts, people like that. The people that controlled Justin Trudeau in Canada. That when Carney was in and they had to disavow Trudeau, basically, they told him, you shut your mouth and you lay low. Don't say a word, lay low. Because every time you come up, it ends up reflecting back on Carney. And it's going to do it again. This is the opposite, Justin, of laying low. Going to a restaurant in Montreal with a pop star is not laying low. I don't think his ego can handle it. I don't think he knows how to live not in the spotlight.
Neither does Katy Perry. These people need to take
They're attention sluts.
Yeah, you need to take some time away. And so that we can forget about you and all the annoyance you brought to our lives. And then we will be the judge if we can welcome you back into our orbit. But until then, when you're constantly in my face and you're annoying, it's just doesn't make me like you anymore.
So I'm going to call BS on this. I don't think there's anything there. And I think if there is, it has much more to do with politics than it does with a relationship. But let's move on to another one. Some people are calling it, in some weird way, racist, that Sydney Sweeney, who I'm still not even 100% sure who this woman is, has appeared in an ad for, is it American Eagle?
Yes.
And she's wearing an all denim outfit. And the ad says, good jeans. As in Genes, not Jeans.
No, just play words.
Good jeans. If she's a good-looking woman, everybody understands that? Okay. How is that racist?
Well, they're presenting it in the way that, of course, they would have a blonde hair, big boob, blue-eyed girl promoting a product and saying, oh, I get it from the good genes, that you have to look this particular way, when in the U.S., that's not actually what most of the population looks like. And that's where people are finding that this campaign is actually racist. I thought that didn't even cross my mind. I just thought, hey, she's the it girl, and that's who they got.
Yeah, usually you go with whoever the hot one in Hollywood
And
is.
she is.
But what's the difference, though, between this blonde-haired, blue-eyed, big-boobed white girl wearing a denim outfit and the blonde hair, big boobed black girl, Beyonce, in the Levi's ads, which look almost exactly the same? Why is it okay when Beyonce does it, but God help us if we put a white girl in an ad for jeans?
That's the thing. I have no idea. To me, they both look good. And
do white people not wear jeans? Are these specifically marketed now to black people? Is that what's going on? Or
legit, I have no idea. And I don't even think, this is going to sound cruel, but I don't even think the marketing team at American Eagle were that deep when they were coming up with this ad campaign. To them, it was just more like, oh, jeans, good jeans, haha, play on words. I don't think they even thought that this would turn into a controversial ad, if anything. Now some are even comparing it to what's her name from the 80s with her Calvin Kleins. Nothing gets between me and my Calvins. It's just ridiculous, all these controversies over jeans. But
who's starting this controversy? Is this the media, the mainstream media, again, trying to drive home some sort of narrative that doesn't exist, that people are offended when really they're not? They're just creating that scenario.
Well, no, it started on TikTok, and then the media started picking up when other people of a younger generation are saying, whoa, you're not inclusive. You're
not inclusive.
Just because I don't have blonde hair, blue eyes doesn't mean my genes aren't good. You don't represent us, burn your genes from American Eagle. And it's like,
get the hell out of here.
And then obviously the media started picking up on this, and even so much so, like Doja Cat, who's a singer, she's even gone on.
Another failed singer, though. No real hits anymore, not coming out with anything new. And I doubt if she did, it would get played anyway. She had one or two good songs and then a whole bunch of dog's breakfast there after that. No wonder we don't hear from her very often.
Well, now she's trending because she is making fun of Sydney Sweeney and this, of course, these ad campaign that features her saying, it's my jeans. These are my blue jeans, or whatever the case may be. Who cares? You're reading into something that's not there. There's bigger problems in the world than what the hell.
No. Don't write it off like that. I want to get down to it. Which part of this is racist? Because, if I'm going to have to look at this nonsense online accusing me of racism, I'd like to know what specifically. Good genes is very, very generic. It doesn't seem like it's pointing at anybody. If you have a good-looking person and you're trying to promote the clothes she's wearing, that makes perfect sense. If it's jeans and jeans, we all understand it.
Yes.
Interesting. Why did that accusation not come up when Beyonce was in all those Levi's ads? Were they only for black people?
No.
And why do we even care what color the model is?
Mm-hmm. Well, in the campaign for...
I don't understand. I thought we were not looking at color anymore.
Well, if you look a certain way that offends people, I guess.
How does a good-looking girl offend people? Because she's good-looking.
Sadly, that's really what it comes down to. In some areas, it's jealousy. I don't want to like her anyways. Now here's my opportunity to jump on this. And in the campaign, she's like, your eye color and this and that is getting passed down by your parents, and that's your genes, and my genes are blue. That's the whole campaign. I don't understand how it's racist. I don't, and I'm not a racist person, but I just don't get it. Like, I've been trying to open myself up to these conversations to hear what people are saying, but I'm just so confused by the whole thing. I just don't get it. And should we not then be offended about Beyonce? I don't understand how it's okay for one and not the other, but is it because Sydney has more privilege? I don't...
No. This privilege nonsense.
But that's some of the things that are trending. Oh, because she has privilege. Of course they would get her
I'm
because she's super hot.
No. I'm going to shut privilege down right now. Privilege is a word that has been completely abused to promote DEI initiatives. And while I do support the spirit of diversity, equity, and inclusion, I do not support demonizing people who have done absolutely nothing wrong and trying to shame them out of their own history. So I don't want to hear the word privilege on this podcast or really in general conversation, period. Privilege is one of the worst words that we should be using when we're talking about DEI. It's completely preposterous. Preposterous. I said it. And thank God I am not at that other company and don't have to do those damn DEI training sessions anymore because they were useless and insulting.
You had to do those, eh?
Yeah, we did.
Oh,
wow.
Wow. Wow.
Anna, that company, oh my
Wow.
God. Ugh,
It isn't,
jeez.
but it is one of those words that gets tossed around now. It's just, if you don't understand the full conversation or how to fully back your statement, you say, it's just, she has privilege that we don't have.
But privilege just generally gets applied to all white people, typically. If I'm being honest, this is the way I understand it. It typically gets applied to white people, and it's used to shame them over something they had no control of whatsoever. Anna, I grew up with a single mom who was raising 2 boys. We did not have a car. We took buses everywhere. We lived in an apartment until I made it to high school. We had very, very little. There wasn't a lot of money going around. We would have been lower class. Mm-hmm. And yet I'll get accused of having privilege just because of the fact that I'm white?
Yeah.
Is that what that is? I don't accept that. I don't.
Well, that's just the way that I can't just say that's just the way it is, but that's how people are presenting it. Well, it could be, this person has it worse. There's always somebody who has it worse. I get it, but don't minimize what I've been through just because my narrative doesn't fit into what you believe is fair.
And that's exactly what it is. We're trying to fit a round peg into a square hole. And I'm sorry, it just doesn't apply to everybody. To just blanket say because you're white, you had privilege. I don't accept that. I think it's a completely asinine argument. And the thing is, it's been weaponized. Almost you will agree with that statement or you're a racist. And no, that does not make you racist if you do not accept the fact that you have privilege or came from privilege, because there's a lot of people that don't fit that same narrative. That's part of the reason I'm wondering about this Sydney Sweeney thing. Why is it racist that she's in a jeans ad with a clever play on words, but nobody said boo when Beyonce was doing it? Nobody should have had an issue with Beyonce doing it, and nobody should have an issue with Sydney Sweeney doing it. Who cares?
Yeah, no.
Wasn't the role initially to try and get more women in these prominent positions? Mission accomplished. Who's promoting jeans now? Beyonce and Sydney Sweeney, 2 women.
Yeah.
I don't know of any men models, prominent ones, that are modeling too many jeans right now. So that's good. Who cares if they're black or white? Let's stop looking at what color people are and just focus on the quality of the ad, the integrity of the copywriting in it, and that sort of thing. Who cares what color the models are? It doesn't make any sense. I'm not looking at that. Why are other people and trying to make it a race issue?
Well, because they need a little bit more controversy in today's world, as if we don't have enough. But this is where they feel they can control the narrative. Again, in my opinion, that's what it is. And, she's an easy target right now. She's the it girl, and she hasn't really done anything that would make people roll their eyes except the fact that she's beautiful. These ads aren't making me want to buy the jeans anymore, even if I felt that this whole marketing scheme was racist.
Is it just white girls, by the way? Can we, would it still be the same thing if it was a Portuguese girl in this ad or an Italian girl in this ad?
I think if they were beautiful, no matter what, I think there would be some sort of commotion. But I don't believe it would
anybody but black would have gotten this. Is that it?
I really don't think it would have been as big as it is if it not for Sydney Sweeney and for her to look the way she does. Honestly. And now I think people are just so scared to say anything that doesn't go with what society is pushing because they're scared to get canceled, and that's just what we're living in. So either jump on board and agree that this is racist, or you're going to be left behind and you're going to be seen and perceived as a certain way, and you're too scared to be pushed and classified that way. So that's why you hear so much of this getting pushed on social media.
I don't understand who's doing it. You know what? If I followed a social media account that tried to tell me I was racist if I laughed at the Sydney Sweeney ad, the clever play on words, I'm not following that account. I don't accept that. I really want to get past this labels and colors and things like that. Let's talk about character. Let's talk about integrity. Let's talk about all of the other things that actually matter in a person. Personality, things like that. It doesn't matter what color their skin is.
It doesn't matter, and it shouldn't matter, and especially.
But now, who's pushing the racism thing? Because I'm a conservative, and I get accused of being racist all the time.
No, I have no idea who's trying to push it, but I don't see it. To me, it was just probably a failed marketing scheme. But jeans, I thought that's a play on word. I worked in media.
I don't think it's a fail.
No, everybody's talking about it, probably not in the way that they were hoping, but that's usually how it becomes memorable, and people will likely still go and buy those jeans just because they're fans of Sydney Sweeney and they like controversy. I think they're going to do really well. But these are also the same people who had no problem laughing at the couple who got caught cheating and wanted their lives to be over. Do you know what I mean? It's just, you can't support one and not the other. bad is bad. If you think everything's bad, then you got to stick to that narrative instead of picking and choosing what you feel is right and wrong.
I don't want to beat this issue too much to death, but I'm just wondering if they'd put out 2 ads, one with Beyonce. Oh no, she does Levi's. Give me another good-looking black model or actress or someone. Give me Toni Braxton.
Damn, she is beautiful.
Oh my God, that girl.
Wow.
So if they'd put out an ad that said good jeans with Toni Braxton in it instead of Sydney Sweeney, would white people would they be screaming that this is racist? Because I don't feel like it would go down like that.
Oh, I don't think I don't think so.
And by and large, I don't think many people are. This seems like a real small but loud group that's saying that these ads are racist. Somebody called it Nazi propaganda.
Oh my gosh, that's an excessive reach. And
you're really stretching on that, I think.
Yeah, and the people that I've seen the videos, these are white women on social media who are pushing this story and can you believe this? And blah 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 blah, death to Sydney Sweeney, and it's like, oh my gosh, she didn't even write this. People, you have to take a step back too.
Somebody please explain to me, like I'm a 12-year-old, why this is racist. Could somebody please do that? Why is it racist that Sydney Sweeney appears in an ad for jeans and that the copy on the ad said good jeans? Why is that racist specifically? Why is that Nazi propaganda? If anyone can give me a nice, succinct, plain explanation for why that is, I'd love to hear it.
Yeah,
and you know what? If I'm wrong, I'll acknowledge that I'm wrong.
And you do.
I always do all the time.
You always do.
People correct me on things, and when they're right, I'll always acknowledge that I was wrong if I was. Right now, I'm thinking it's wrong to call this ad racist. I don't understand who it is that's doing this. And I think the whole thing is just manufactured and stupid.
Yeah, well, it's because Sydney Sweeney is a beautiful, white, blonde, blue-eye girl who's had a lot of success, and a lot of people believe it's not because of her talent, it's because of her looks. And here's another campaign that was given to her because of the looks that she's had. And the whole Nazi connection, it's because that was the race that they were trying to create then, and that's what she is. But that's not the whole world, and that's why they feel the good genes are passed down. But hey, I'm beautiful and I don't look like you, and that's why people feel that that whole campaign is racist, because they're not included in their belief of good genes.
And it's all because of a play on words, jeans.
Exactly.
Like if it was just a picture of Sydney Sweeney and it said, I love my American Eagle jeans, would it still be racist?
No. Gosh, no. It's just the way that they talked about, Sydney Sweeney pulling up her jeans and saying, hey, my looks got passed down from my parents. That's, the genes. But for me, I'm passing down these blue jeans. It's just wild to me. But that's why people feel that this is a racist campaign, because I don't look like her. My genes aren't the same. And the genes that they're trying to create with this ad is because of, what the Nazis were trying to.
Oh, Jesus.
What the Nazis were trying to create in a certain race.
I don't want to hear it.
Beauty of blonde and,
I don't even want to hear it.
So that's what it was. That's why people are offended.
You got all of that from an ad for jeans for American Eagle.
That's what people are saying. That's what's all over social media. And you know what? Sydney Sweeney, she's smart. She hasn't put out a statement.
Good. She shouldn't even dignify it with one.
She's not even commenting. I think she's probably as surprised as many about this. And for other people who are in marketing, they're just like, man, this was not the way we thought it was going to go. It was just a play on word that's kind of unraveled into this really widely talked about controversy now.
Well,
until the next one.
I'll be happy when this dies down, because I think it's stupid. I'm fairly close-minded on this one, guys, because I really don't see it. I look at an ad for Levi's with Beyonce, and even though I think Beyonce is probably one of the most overrated singers out there. Sorry, that's just my opinion. Ooh. I don't think she's a particularly great singer. Good, absolutely. She's got a beautiful voice, but she's no Whitney Houston. She's no Toni Braxton. She was just well marketed and had some catchy pop songs, and she married Jay-Z. That's why Beyonce is around and still doing stuff. But people are, with their money, telling us that they're a little sick of Beyonce. That's why this tour was a bit of a joke that she went out and did. Made a lot of money off of it, but it wasn't great. The reviews weren't good. Technical problems. It seemed like a bit of a mess. But I can at least look at a Beyonce jeans ad and say, oh, yeah, it's a good-looking girl. I can look at the Sydney Sweeney ad, which I haven't even actually seen yet. Is it the one where she's wearing a denim top and jeans? Okay, so I guess I did see it this morning. And I can look at that and say, there's a good looking girl. It doesn't even cross my mind that Beyonce's black and Sydney Sweeney's white. It doesn't even cross my mind. For those who do fixate on that, are you the racist or am I?
Well,
I don't understand it.
That's a good question. And to be honest with you, a lot of the times I watch these commercials, there's no sound. I'm just watching because so I wouldn't even have known. It's just really people taking time to dissect every little thing, and it's just not needed. We should be coming together and not dividing each other more on something that, I mean, Sydney can't control the way she looks, and that's just not fair either.
But would have been the same thing if it was a different white girl?
As long as they're the it girl. Probably.
Oh, yeah. So it's an attack on successful white women.
Well,
is that what that is?
Because, again, too, many people don't feel like she's talented. She's not a good actress. That's what people think. And she's only where she is because she's beautiful. She's super hot. That's how she's climbed the corporate ladder.
Come on. If we're going to play that game, they're only here because they're good looking. Well, there's a lot of Hollywood that's going to fall.
Well, yeah. I mean, but that's what it is. And it doesn't help. Who is Sydney Sweeney? Like, what has she really done? She's actually been in a lot of different films, and she has, she's active. I don't know. Who the hell cares, man? Like, if she's not the it girl, if it was somebody else, they would go for her too. And that's just really what it comes down to.
All right. Well, thanks for explaining some of the controversy.
I hope that helped.
I mean, it did. I wanted to understand a few things. And I'm in the camp of I don't even know who Sydney Sweeney is. I've heard the name, but I don't know what she's in. I thought she was a Disney star until you told me she wasn't.
No, she's from a really erotic show called Euphoria. But she's also been in White Lotus. I think she's a fine actress. No better than some of the other ones that made it into Hollywood who get paid millions of dollars. Like
Hollywood is full of them. People that really aren't that great.
No.
We've got singers out there that are on such a pedestal that are not good singers. And I'd love to name names, but it kind of interferes with my other job on the radio, and I don't really want to go down that road.
Yeah.
But listen to some of the actual music from some of these people, and you'll realize they're not good singers.
No.
But somehow they're famous because part of it is the look and the way that they're marketed.
That's just what it is. That's media, man. That's Hollywood. Yeah. Very little talent with some, but very marketable, and you just love them to love them. And people aren't happy because she is beautiful. Sydney Sweeney is beautiful. I'd like to be her friend, and I don't think she deserves all of this attack that she's been getting, to be quite frank with you. And yeah, I don't even remember Beyonce's Levi's jeans even getting any sort of criticism at all.
I don't think there was.
Nothing.
Certainly not being accused of racism.
No. And then people were upset when she received backlash for Cowboy Carter and her crossing into country music, because that's, it's just, there's always somebody to say something. And it's usually the white people who are really offended by it that I've noticed on social media. And I don't understand why. Just be happy. Be happy for them.
Again, please, like I'm a 12-year-old, explain to me why this is racist. I don't want to hear privilege, because it's not.
Yeah.
I don't want to hear about Nazi plans to redesign the world. I don't want to hear it. Like, just tell me why this ad in particular is racist. That's all I want to hear. If you can explain it to me like I'm a 12-year-old, please do it. And if I get a good one, I'll share it with you tomorrow. But right now, I don't see it. This seems like a manufactured controversy from people that I don't know if they're offended or they're worried that other people may be offended, but we got to get rid of the latter.
Yeah.
If you're truly offended by something, let's talk about that. You getting upset because other people might get offended doesn't fly with me.
I like a good debate, and I like hearing people's perspective, but when it's empty words with really harsh consequences, to me, that's where I draw the line.
Thanks for coming in, Anna.
Yeah, man.
I'm going to move on and talk about a couple other things, but I will catch you back here later this week. Friday listener DMs. I got a lot on Silent Date Guy.
How could you not? I've gotten it.
And then I've got a number of them as well on immigration and a few other different files as well. So I hope that you can get ready. It's going to be a fun one. I'll tell you that.
It's going to be more than 45 minutes, people. So get ready for that, too.
All right. Thanks, Anna.
Thank you.
Of the second quarter coming in at 3%. That is better than expected, 2.4%. Again, GDP, this is the first read of the second quarter coming in at 3%. That is better than expected, 2.4%. I want to bring in Adam Johnson. Markets are certainly watching this, right?
Yeah, Goldilocks, because I would add to that, Cheryl, that the GDP price index was only 2%. And the expectation was 2.2. In other words, we have an economy growing at, what do you say, 3%. We have inflation at 2%. That's the best of both worlds. So I'm very positive on that report.
I'll leave that there. That is a report from Fox News today talking about how great the American economy is doing. See, there's a lot of people that speculated when Donald Trump started dabbling in tariffs and stuff like that, it was going to sink the economy. That was a leading talking point from some, is Donald Trump is going to kill the economy. It seems like the opposite effect is actually happening right now. And maybe you're thinking, Scott, I don't want to hear nonsense from Fox News because they're a right-wing mouthpiece. Let's hear it from a left-wing mouthpiece. This is MSNBC.
Up 3%, up 3%. Better than expected. That would be the highest level since the third quarter of 24 when it was up 3.1%. On the consumption side, up 1.4, very close to estimates. Up 1.4 would be the best since the last quarter of 24.
I'll just leave that there. The American economy is cooking right now. The Q2 GDP says that the economy is up 3% and inflation is down to 2%. That is that's huge. That's huge for the Americans. There's a lot of reason to think their interest rates are going to start going down, and they should. Ours should too, but they're not going to. Listen, the American economy is doing quite well. Not to mention, they brought in a record amount of money in the last quarter into the Treasury because of those tariffs. I don't like them. It's going to hurt us here in Canada a lot. But it seems like right now there's some evidence to suggest that Donald Trump's strategy is working. I told you I'd cover a lot of different topics, and I'm going to go back and forth on them. Let's get to interest rates here in Canada. This morning, the Bank of Canada made their latest interest rate announcement, and as expected, those cowards left the rate as was. Let me read you the title headline. While some elements of U.S. trade policy have started to become more concrete in recent weeks, trade negotiations are fluid. Threats of new sectoral tariffs continue, and U.S. trade actions remain unpredictable. Against the backdrop, the July Monetary Policy Report does not present conventional base case projections for GDP growth and inflation in Canada and globally. Instead, it presents a current tariff scenario based on tariffs in place or agreed as of July 27th, and two alternative scenarios, one with an escalation and another with a de-escalation of tariffs. The Bank of Canada maintains its target for the overnight rate at 2.75%, with the bank rate at 3% and the deposit rate at 2.70%. The Bank of Canada is the biggest scam in this country's history. I think all central banks are, to be perfectly honest with you, but the Bank of Canada is screwing people again. They just bought themselves another month of locking in more homeowners at higher rates. They just bought themselves another month of extra money for those bankers, for rates that or for mortgages that haven't renewed yet. They are taking money from the middle class, keeping it for themselves, and then telling all of us that we have to wait. We can't be sure about these tariffs and what effect it'll have on the economy. The Bank of Canada has been hiding behind any excuse they can get for a long time now to justify having these rates as high as they are. Every time, it's a different excuse. Oh, the job numbers are great, so we got to keep the rate the same. Uh-oh, Donald Trump's involved. Oh, he might have tariffs, might not have tariffs, not sure what to do. Let's maintain the rate. There's one factor that makes me think all of the other arguments are completely preposterous. The Bank of Canada is basically saying there's uncertainty because of tariffs and because we may not have a trade deal with America. You know what the single biggest thing should be? A budget. And we don't even have one, and we haven't had one for a very long time. How on earth can the Bank of Canada blame this decision on tariffs and not even mention the fact that we don't have a budget? The Canadian people still haven't even been told how far in debt we are. They needed to drop those rates. And I know there's economists that are going to disagree with me. There's probably mortgage brokers that are going to disagree with me, unless they have a mortgage themselves and are paying the same rates that you and I are. It is ridiculous. The Bank of Canada's strategy, for those who don't know, is simple. We can't let inflation get higher, and to make sure that inflation doesn't go higher, we'll take all of the excess money out of the economy and just keep it ourselves so that Canadians can't bid up the price of different things. It's insanity. The Bank of Canada holding the interest rate again is just one more month of more families struggling. They do not care whatsoever about the middle class. They just want their money. They see us, the middle class, as the worker bees, and they're the queen bee, and they think they have a right to just keep taking our money. And if you think I'm wrong, just ask yourself how much you pay in tax. Roughly half of your income goes to tax. Because again, the ruling class just looks at us as the bank account. They're just taking money out of our pockets. The banks are doing it. The government's doing it. What do we have left? What do we have left? Half of our paycheck. The Bank of Canada is a massive, massive problem. And that son of a bitch, Tiff Macklem, I swear to God, he's incompetent. He is completely incompetent. How can he not look at the situation on the ground and understand all of the factors that are happening here? The job losses. Well, I guess he doesn't look at the job losses because StatsCan says the job market is great. How can he not look at the state of the economy right now and not think, we better do something, or the whole thing, this whole house of cards is going to come crumbling down and there's going to be mass insolvencies and bankruptcies and foreclosures? That's the way I see this going, unless that's what they want. Take as much money from us as possible now, and then once people start losing their homes, then they come in, they foreclose on them and sell them to each other. Maybe they keep them as investments, or maybe they sell them off at ridiculous prices and lock new people into mortgages. I think the Bank of Canada is dead wrong on this one. And you know what? What makes me happy about this is I'm going to be proven right. Let's circle back here in a few months. We know this fall is going to be rough. When major reputable companies are forecasting things like 140,000 lost jobs in the next few months, when we see how great the American economy is doing and how bad the Canadian economy is doing, we know the storm is coming and it's about to hit hard. I think that I'm going to be vindicated in this suggestion here that Tiff Macklem doesn't care about the workers. He doesn't care about the middle class. He only cares about himself and his banker buddies. He's just making bankers rich. Every time these rates don't go back down, he's making his buddies rich. And that's wrong, to finance their ridiculous activities and government spending on the backs of the middle class, the taxpayers. That's what I'll say about interest rates. Let's keep moving on. The EV mandate is back in the news. It appears the Liberals are not going to cave on this one. They insist that you cannot keep your car for any longer than when they say. They want everybody to move to an electric vehicle. Not hydrogen, not hybrid, not any of the other options that are out there. They want everybody driving an electric vehicle. Now, why would they be so hell-bent on this? Because we know they're not really in it for the environment. If they were really in it for the environment, they wouldn't have shamed Elon Musk and Tesla as hard as they did. They basically made having a Tesla, they made you persona non grata because you supported Elon Musk if you bought a Tesla. Teslas helped lead the green revolution. They're changing the world. They're making our air cleaner. Nope. Can't do anything that would support a Republican or a conservative. So it's not about the environment. The only thing I can think is that they are just desperately trying to make these stupid electric vehicle battery manufacturing plants that we sunk way too much taxpayer money into. They're just trying to make them work. It doesn't make any sense. We have these Chinese electric vehicles that we could be buying. We could be. In fact, I don't know why we're not inviting them to come over here and manufacture cars here. These are cheap vehicles that actually seem to work very well. What did we do? We slapped them with a 100% tariff so that Canadians don't get interested in buying Chinese EVs. So there's a war on the ones made by China. There's a war on the ones made by Elon Musk. That only leaves one conclusion. If they're going to force people to buy EVs only, and they're going to do it in the next 7 to 10 years, that means you get maybe one more gas-powered vehicle, and then you're going to have to switch. Whether you want to or not, you're just going to have to. You won't be able to buy them anymore, these gas-powered vehicles, because the car dealers are only going to be able to sell a certain percentage, and that percentage goes down each year. We're going to be getting closer and closer to electric vehicles as time goes on. And again, it's not about the environment, so I got to think it's to subsidize these stupid battery plants that we're, for whatever reason, going all in on. I don't know why we're doing that. I think that those EV plants, if they still want to build them, should probably go to America. Seems like America is, I can't think of any other reason. Can you? Don't tell me it's green. Don't tell me it's part of that. Why else would we be doing this? Forcing this EV mandate? Again, it's not about the environment. Somebody's got to be getting rich here, and I think the government's trying to cover their butt and justify the decision they made to finance these EV battery factories. I can't think of any other reason. But I'm open to hearing from you if you've got a good one. Let's talk about crime and punishment for a second here. Tamara Lich, Chris Barber. These are the people who were on trial for their role in the Freedom Convoy. That was the protest that happened in Ottawa. The trucker protest is how a lot of people know it. I've got a lot of Americans tuning in lately, and I appreciate that. Thank you very much. If you're one of our American listeners, I thank you. We don't have a problem with you, by the way. It's just your president who's treating us like crap. It is what it is. We'll figure it out. We will eventually become friends again. But thank you for listening to a cross-border podcast. The trucker protest, the Freedom Convoy. Two of the people who were amongst the organizers ended up getting charged criminally. They were charged with mischief, and one of them was also charged with counseling to commit mischief. In other words, encouraging others to defy the judge's ruling and keep honking their horn. They were convicted. The government has spent millions on legal fees prosecuting this case, a simple mischief case. In any other scenario, this probably would have been a very simple, don't do it again. We're going to put you on a peace bond for a year. And as long as you keep your nose clean and don't break the law for the next year, then it'll come off your record. That's typically how a mischief charge would get dealt with. But no, this one, they want 7 years in jail for Tamara, 8 years in jail for Chris Barber. Why would that be? I'll tell you, the government was deeply embarrassed. They were trying to lead the world on how strict we are on COVID. How dare Canadians embarrass the government and stand up and say, we don't want to do that. We are tired of these restrictions, which are draconian and probably unconstitutional on some level. I don't know that the courts are going to agree with that, but that's how I felt about it and how many Canadians felt about it. They went to Ottawa to protest government overreach. We're supposed to, in a democracy, be able to protest peacefully. We can debate whether or not honking horns at all hours is peaceful. Sure, we can have that debate. But either way, this wasn't a protest where we were breaking windows and burning stuff down. It was nothing like that. They gathered together in a peaceful protest, as I see it. It was certainly a polite protest for the most part. It was freedom-loving Canadians that went to Ottawa to send a message to our government. And the folks on the left, the government leading the charge, treated them like they were terrorists. Bank accounts got frozen over this. And now the government wants to send them, the prosecution, the Crown, wants to send them to jail. 7 years for Tamara, 8 years for Chris Barber, because they were the ringleaders, apparently, of the Freedom Convoy. Well, how do we square the circle then when we see what's going on with criminal justice in Canada? Repeat violent offenders getting bail the same day. They're out before the cops can even do the paperwork. It's insanity. Well, how about this one? 60 days of house arrest for a suspect who was planning to bomb Toronto synagogues in order to kill as many Jewish men, women, and children as possible. 60 days of house arrest for the person who was planning to do this. Yet we give Tamara Lich, or they want to give Tamara Lich 7 years and Chris Barber 8 years. Just think about this for a second, because I think that this is something that we as all Canadians should be able to understand and appreciate. Justice is not being administered equally here. When we've got people who are terrorizing folks in their own home, waving a gun in their face till they hand over their keys, carjacking people in the middle of intersections, violent attacks, shootings, stabbings, you name it. People are getting off with a slap on the wrist. But the two people who dared stand up to the government, and did embarrass the government a lot, because the government wanted the rest of the world to think we were an exemplary model of how to have those COVID restrictions in place. The people who stood up, the government, it's not enough to just charge them. They want them in jail for years. But they'll let these violent repeat criminal offenders out the same day. I used this example the other day when I was talking about Donald Trump and the Epstein files. I'm still thinking about it because it didn't even occur to me until I said it in the pod, and now it's on my mind. I want to share it with you again. Let's talk about how we come to reasonable conclusions. Donald Trump was all in favor of the Epstein files coming out. He said, we're going to release those Epstein files and get to the bottom of what happened, and hopefully there will be prosecutions. But then Donald Trump pulled an about face. All of a sudden, it was a hoax, and you were stupid if you wanted those Epstein files. If you wanted to know what was in them, you were part of the problem, according to Donald Trump. Well, I can't think of any other reason that he would do that other than he must be in the files. He has to be. What other reason is there for why he wouldn't now want to release those files? That's how you come to a reasonable conclusion. Well, if we apply the exact same standard to crime and punishment in Canada, and we see Tamara Lich and Chris Barber, the government spent millions prosecuting them. They've already been in pretrial custody for way longer than most people would. Crown wants to lock him up for 7 and 8 years in jail. But then you see somebody who carjacks an old lady at an intersection and beats the hell out of her before they take her car. Same day. They're out the same day with bail. Justice is not being administered equally. And I think the reason for that, if we're drawing reasonable conclusions, I can't think of any other reason than the government wants it that way. It wants chaos on the streets. The government had a chance to reform bail. They keep pushing it back. Oh, yeah, we'll get to it. Oh, yeah, we know it's a problem. We'll deal with it. Constantly pushing it back, not dealing with the problem, makes me think they're okay with this as a problem, or they don't even see it as a problem. They're not the same as us. The middle class knows this is a problem. The middle class understands what's going on here. And I think it's pretty obvious to most that when they're going for 7 and 8 years for Tamara Lich and Chris Barber, but somebody who is a violent repeat offender gets bail the same day and might get a slap on the wrist if they're convicted in court. Many of those get thrown out on technicalities. They want it that way. They're trying to send a message that you cannot stand up to this government and get away with it. We'll freeze your bank account. We'll lock you up in jail for a long time until we absolutely have to let you go. When the judge orders, we got to let you go. Fine, we'll let you out, but you're coming back for court. And when you're convicted, you'll go to jail for many years for standing up to the government in a democracy. The reasonable conclusion is that that's their only issue. Stand up to them and you'll get screwed. You're a violent repeat offender? Not the end of the world. Go ahead. Do whatever you want to do. We're a lawless country. It's the way it feels. One more thing I want to get on your radar here for this episode, and I know I've gone longer than I said I would. I am sorry, but there's just a lot to say here. I want to play a little bit for you of the president's makeshift news conference that he did on Air Force One yesterday when he was returning from Scotland back to America with that huge trade deal in hand from the EU. He talked about two things in particular that I want to talk about with you. Number one, the Epstein files. Got asked a real good question. Listen to this.
Mr. President, you said yesterday your falling out with Jeffrey Epstein was over him taking some of the workers from your business. But your administration in the past said that you threw him out because he was a creep. So can you explain that discrepancy?
Well, maybe they're the same thing, sort of a little bit of the same thing. But no, he took people that worked for me, and I told him don't do it anymore, and he did it. And I said, stay the hell out of here.
So is that what was meant by being a creep? I'm the travel pool, but I'm with NBC News.
NBC fake news. Okay. NBC's one of the worst. What else do you have?
I was on Air Force One.
I mean, we were finally getting somewhere. Somebody asked him a good question. What exactly do you mean that Jeffrey Epstein took people from you? Like, did he physically abduct them? What the hell? He blew off that question again. And I understand NBC does not give him favorable coverage. That shouldn't be his goal in any of this. But from time to time, they do give him what I feel is very biased coverage. I understand why he's hesitant to answer questions from their reporters, but it doesn't change the fact that the reporter was asking him a serious question. People want to know about the Epstein files. Donald, please, let's get on this. Get these files out. Let's find out who did what and make sure that they face the appropriate punishment.
On Mar-a-Lago, you're saying that Jeffrey Epstein poached 2 of your staffers. Who were they? Were they young?
I don't want to say 2, or I don't want to say any number. You're talking about many years ago. But yeah, he took people. And because he took people, I said, don't do it anymore. They work for me. And he took, beyond that, he took some others. And once he did that, that was the end of him. I didn't like when they steal people, I don't like it.
Did anybody ever go?
It's just not all that clear, you know? I want to know a little bit more. And it sounded like Trump was kind of going to go down that road, but he never actually did. And I don't understand why. The other thing I want to hear from the president on is something that he basically brought up right in front of many European leaders over there. The Europeans, still very much into the environmental movement, they want to build windmills. They still think that windmills are the way to go. And here in Canada, it is breaking today that in Nova Scotia, they have just done something huge. They've signed on for, let me see if I can get this right, Canada's first offshore wind zone. Wind zone off the coast of Nova Scotia. The president talked on Air Force One a little bit more about why he doesn't like windmills. Let's see if this offers a little clarity for you in trying to make up your mind about how you feel about them.
Surrounded by windmills. Did you talk to Starmer about?
I did.
The
Yeah,
windmills,
I think
or?
windmills are a disgrace. I think they hurt everything they touch. They're ugly. They're very inefficient. It's the most expensive form of energy there is. People hate it when they become visible from their house. When you see them from a house, the value goes down by 50% and more. They make noise. When they're out in the ocean, they're bad for the sea life, very bad for the whales, obviously, because they wash up on shore like 9 times more than they did without them. No, they are really bad, and they cost a lot of money. You know, there's not a wind farm that's put up without subsidy. So instead of making money, what they should do is open up the whole North Coast oil. They have tremendous oil right there, right where we played. And they've made it impossible for people to drill. It's crazy. It's, that's one of the best oil areas in the world. They made it impossible for people to take it out. Instead, they put up these ugly windmills all over the country and all over the world. I don't know what it is. Nobody likes them. They have the greatest lobby, but it's starting. I think I'm starting to get to it now. They're bad energy. They look bad. They kill the birds. They're really terrible things. And it's the most expensive energy of any energy there is. And in fact, not every, I guess, I don't know, maybe some, but almost every windmill put up needs subsidy from the government. So instead of making money, they lose money. And that's why UK energy costs are very high. Because when we were flying over to the plane, they're all over the place. It's terrible. It's a terrible.
And on that, congratulations, Nova Scotia. Congratulations. I don't know if everything that the president is saying there is true, but I have to think that there is another way. We do subsidize these windmills greatly. They're not particularly reliable. They do seem kind of dangerous. I'm not sure why at this point in time, when there's so many other options available, not the least of which are the small nuclear reactors, why Nova Scotia would go all in on windmills offshore. But whatever. That's a Nova Scotia problem. Have yourselves a great day, everybody. Sorry for going long. I'll catch you right back here tomorrow with another episode of Scott Fox After 9.